What's up, everybody? This is BNJ Productions. I'm Jacob, and this is Brandon, and today we're doing another football talk. Starting off, we're going to be talking about the AFC East, one of the most interesting divisions in football right now. We got the Dolphins, the Patriots, the Bills, the Jets, a lot of big questions coming up. Starting off first, we're going to talk about is the 3-0 Miami Dolphins, and I mean, they've got a 28-20 victory over the Raiders this week, a 20-12 victory over the Jets in week 2, and a 27-20 victory over the Titans in week 1. And a big question here is if Ryan Tannehill is back, and I mean, if he is, then that's great news for the Dolphins. And they don't have very many good receivers. They have Kenny Stills, Devontae Parker finally came back, and Albert Wilson has been having some good weeks. But I mean, the question is Ryan Tannehill back? What do you think, Brennan?
I think he is back, and I like the Dolphins.
I think it's one of those things where it's like they have a little bit less talent, but I mean, they have a good chemistry together and they worked, and that's why I guess Ndamukong Suh and Jarvis Landry didn't really work over there. So that's why they traded him off and just didn't re-sign him because, I mean, Ryan Tannehill's back. He went 17 for 23 for 289s and 3 touchdowns last week, last week against the Raiders. And I mean, he played incredible. It's been a while since he's played really good and helped the Dolphins to an exceptional level, but back, I think, and former Aggie, and and he's just doing good. He really is.
I don't necessarily think that the Dolphins have the best players in the world, but I think that they have a cohesive unit to go together.
Yeah,
and they just know how to win. Really do.
Well, I mean, they're close wins, not big victories over decent teams. The Raiders are 0-3, Jets 1-2, Titans 2-1. Not the best teams, but I mean, they're still quality. I don't know if they have a chance to knock off the Patriots, and we'll figure it out next week as I think the Patriots and the Dolphins play. Up next, the New England Patriots 1-2 so far this year. Only win this year is against the Texans, 27-20. Lost to the Jags last week, 31-20. Last night, Sunday Night Football, lost 26-10 to the Lions. And the big question here is this team bad?
I don't think necessarily this team is bad. I think that they suffer from the opposite of the Dolphins. I think that they have a lot of really good players who are not playing.
Yeah, and they traded for Josh Gordon from the Browns, only had to give up a 5th-round pick for him, and he didn't get to play last night against the Lions, but I mean, he's very talented. If Tom can't figure out something with his receivers, it's not going to be good. He went 14 for 26 last night, 133 passing yards, touchdown and an interception, and the Patriots offense only ran the ball for 89 yards. Also the first time Kerryon Johnson for the Lions. First time since 2008 with Reggie Bush, the Lions had a 100-yard rusher in there. Not good because the Lions running backs have been awful in these past couple of years. I mean, the Patriots, they're not doing good. I mean, the Jags are a good team, but when you lose to a Lions who got whooped by the Jets on Monday Night Football week 1, not good.
It should be. I don't know if it throw the whole season yet away, but throw the whole season away yet. I think that they need to go do something different soon, or else they're going to be in a hole trying to dig that hole out.
Bill Belichick is very much the Greg Popovich of the NFL, and he's always going to figure out something to do, and Tom Brady's maybe got a year or 2 left. If he doesn't figure something out, it's a rough road for the Patriots. Up next, the Buffalo Bills, 1-2 also. There's a 3-way tie for second place with the Patriots, the Bills, and the Jets, which is something I never thought I'd ever hear come out of my mouth. But Bills lost to the Ravens 47-3 week 1, 31-20 to the Chargers week, and they won last week against the Vikings 27-6. And the Vikings are an amazing team, and it was a huge win. Josh Allen was incredible. Hurdled over some kids, 2 rushing touchdowns, a passing touchdown that game. Question is here, is Josh Allen the Bills' savior?
I don't know if it's time to call him the savior yet. He did have a really good game last week. I don't know if it's time to call him the savior coming week. We need to see if at a consistent level. Just a crazy fluke that he played this good, or if he's kind of player all the time.
The Vikings defense is probably one of the best in the NFL, and it's incredible to see how Josh Allen kind of destroyed them and how the Bills defense was so good too. And I mean, it was kind of a shocker to everyone. Josh Allen was 15 for 22, 196 passing yards, touchdown, 39 rushing yards, and 2 touchdowns, and he was pretty darn good in that game. I mean, he was incredible. He ran all over the field a little bit, hurdled that guy, like I said, and not very often you see a quarterback hurdle a defender. Nope. Really not. You got to be fairly athletic for that. And I mean, there's a lot of questions, and we'll be talking about some rookie quarterbacks later as we go by on our second topic of today. And we'll be talking about Josh Allen quite a bit, but we don't know exactly how good he actually is. He was pretty good at Wyoming, but Wyoming isn't a very good football program. And I mean, it was a lot to say, and he got even drafted by almost a worse team with the Bills. And so it's going to be strange to see how he can keep up with this. Up next, we got the 1-2 New York Jets, and they had a big Week 1 win, 48-17 over the Lions. Lost to the Dolphins, 20-12, and lost to the Browns, 17-21 Thursday night. Sorry. And I mean, is Sam Darnold good enough? Is he really that exceptional coming out of USC? People thought he was way great and could be the number 1 pick, but he wasn't. Slid down to number 3. And is this team the worst team in the NFL?
That's a hard question. I don't know if you can tell this year. There's a lot of good teams. Browns.
Yeah.
They're definitely the worst team. I think that possibly at the end be the worst.
But not be the worst team.
I think their ceiling and floor is worst team and average. I think they can be anything from the worst and then.
Yeah, so I don't think the Jets are the worst team. I mean, there's been a lot of teams who've showed out worse, and it's definitely not the Browns either. I mean, getting a win is big for them, but I mean, they've played exceptional in every game. They tied the Pittsburgh Steelers. They held the Saints up, and they could have won that game if it wasn't for the kicker Zane Gonzalez. And I mean, they took it to the Jets. They played hard. They fought hard. Both teams did. And I don't think either one of these teams are the worst.
The thing with the Browns right now is a few different plays, and they can be 3-0.
Yeah, they really could. And I got to say right now, the Cardinals and the Raiders are 2 of the worst teams. And not something people would have said at the beginning of the season. But I mean, quarterback situation for the Cardinals is bad. Sam Bradford hadn't been as good since his rookie campaign for the Rams, and it's not good for them. And I mean, they've got Josh Rosen. He came in and he threw an interception. So the verdict is still out on him, and we'll talk about him in a little bit too. But it's not good. They're not using Christian Kirk well enough. They're not using Larry Fitzgerald good enough. David Johnson putting up terrible numbers. The defense is. It's just they're struggling right now, and I think it's rough, especially with they're going to Seattle next week or this week. Not a good idea for the Cardinals to lose that one, and I mean, they'll be 0-4. And the thing with the Raiders, I mean, John Gruden shouldn't have traded Khalil Mack. And I think the way he's played, got a sack and a forced fumble every game so far this year, and it's incredible to see. Yeah, he made a terrible mistake.
The thing with the Raiders, I think the Raiders are this go into.
Yeah,
that may make them the.
I mean, there's some Raiders were supposed to be good last year, and they had a really good 2016 campaign, and I mean, they were good. They played well together. Derek Carr had a really good year. Then he kind of had a sloppy year last year, and this year he's just atrocious. Sorry, and it was just they're just not doing good. And John Gruden, he's not the same coach as he used to be. I mean, running back situation isn't good. Marshawn Lynch isn't as good as he should, or as he used to be. Amari Cooper's doing not very good at all, and this team just isn't exciting. I mean, they lost to the Dolphins. Close game, but I mean, this Dolphins team, they work together, and the Raiders have lots of talent. They shouldn't have traded Khalil Mack. I'm a big fan of that guy, but I mean, I think the Raiders should be worried, and like Brandon said, they should go into rebuilding mode right now and just kind of see what they got, deal out some stuff, get some good picks. But I mean, Khalil Mack was too good of a player to trade away. Okay, so which team in the AFC East do you think has the best chance to make it further in the playoffs and win the division.
I still think the New Patriots.
Yeah,
I don't think that their season is over. I think that it's a rough patch right now. Belichick is too coached around. Let them dig a farther hole that they're already in a hole. Their biggest thing, Miami Dolphins, which isn't unfeasible right now. But if losses and especially if you lose Dolphins, that digs you up hard to get.
And I think the Dolphins can pull off a win against the Patriots, but I'm not ruling out the Patriots either. I think it's going to be hard to do that until you see them with about 6 losses this season, saying, "Hey, this era for Bill Belichick and Tom Brady is over." But you cannot count them out. They're the Patriots. I mean, they're one of the best teams NFL has ever seen in the past 10 years, and I think they're going to win the division, but the Dolphins are going to keep it close and maybe snag a wild card spot. Yeah,
my prediction.
And up next, we've got some rookie quarterbacks, and are they good or are they bad? Will they take over the NFL and save their team's seasons? A lot of questions for this rookie class, and pretty much every single one of them will be starting in Week 4. And I mean, Josh Allen and Sam Darnold had been starting. Baker Mayfield took over in the game Thursday night for the Browns and the Jets, and going to be taking over. Josh Allen is probably going to be taking over the Cardinals spots. So you got 4 rookie quarterbacks right here: Sam Darnold, Baker Mayfield, Josh Allen, and Josh Rosen. And it's going to be hard to see which quarterback is the best and which one is going to take over the NFL in the future. First, we got Baker Mayfield, and he had 201 yards in the time he played. I'm pretty sure he had a pretty big 2-point conversion or something like that Thursday, and he had a rating of 100.1, which is pretty good for a rookie quarterback in a first matchup. And I mean, he's taken over in practice. They're having a quarterback meeting in Cleveland right now, talking about whether or not he's good enough to start over Tyrod Taylor. And his dad kind of had that thing about how to say his name, but Baker Mayfield, he played really well, and he gave them a victory. Kind of excitement the Browns haven't had on offense. Kind of the reason they lost and tied the past 2 games. What's your verdict on Baker?
Well, I think that he's Browns safe. No, I don't think that he is the best Browns quarterback. I think Rod are very equal skill level. I really like Rod. A lot of people don't like him. I think that his potential is really good. I think his potential is more than Baker. Baker's just maybe the better quarterback right now. But do I think that Baker is the quarterback they get, the Browns can get? I think that there's a lot coming up in this draft that they can get better than Baker.
I gotta say, it's really a tough issue, and I mean, Brandon's got some sorry stories from Baker Mayfield. How he kind of ran out on Tech, and kind of some sad things about that.
He didn't run out on Tech; it wasn't good.
So he's a little sorry for Baker. I'm not as biased, but I still think it was kind of a cheap way to leave. But he got the Heisman, and I mean, an exciting player. And Johnny Manziel was exciting a little bit for the Browns at first, but trouble's gotten in his way. And I think Baker Mayfield can take the Browns to the level that Tyrod Taylor kind of can't, just because maybe not his speed and his running ability, but with his arm. I mean, Tyrod Taylor doesn't have as well as an arm as Baker Mayfield, and I think Baker Mayfield get the Browns maybe a couple more wins this year, and maybe a lot more. The defense is incredible. I mean, Brill Peppers, Myles Garrett, a lot of good players. Jamie Collins Sr., and I mean, I don't know. I think the Browns can maybe take the next step with Baker. It all depends on what
the
this next game
Browns are
is.
better this year, but I don't think that that's because of the. I think that Baker is really a non-factor. The defense is what is making the Browns good this year. Yeah. I mean, their offense has to keep up, of course. The offense is better than it was too. I just think the defense is not Baker.
Yeah. Okay, so his verdict on Baker Mayfield is definitely not going to be good enough to take over in this NFL. And my verdict for Baker Mayfield is he's still got a lot to prove, and I think he's going to be good, but still a lot of things left to say on him. Up next, we got Sam Darnold. So far, his stat line for the year: 701 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, 5 interception, 72.0 passer rating. Had a great game, a pretty good game against the Lions and the Dolphins, but he was terrible against the Browns. Has half of his interceptions against the Browns, and now it's with a really good Browns defense that people are kind of sleeping on. But I mean, Sam Darnold, he really had a good game against the Lions. Struggled a bit. His first pass in the NFL was a pick six. But I mean, that's kind of just the New York bad luck and the Jets. But I don't know. What do you think about Sam Darnold here, bro?
I think that he could be great. I think that a big thing with a lot of rookie quarterbacks is play on a
Yeah.
I think a lot of rookie quarterbacks great games get too high on them.
Yeah.
And they can't show that they have consistency. That's the number one thing that a quarterback have. Not you don't have to come out there every week and be the best, biggest player. I think a really good example of that is Ryan Tannehill. He doesn't put up the best numbers every week.
Yeah.
He's not the best quarterback in the league, but come out and play a consistent team.
I think so, and I think Sam Darnold is definitely the missing piece the Jets need at quarterback. And a little more thing I believe stronger in him than I do in Baker is probably because the way he fits in New York, the way he kind of has a little more time, doesn't have a lot of quarterback competition. Josh McCown, or one of the McCowans, he's getting older and he's being a good mentor to Sam. But I mean, Sam Darnold, he did do good at USC. He had some struggles, but like Brandon said, he didn't put up the best numbers. And I mean, doesn't have the best numbers here, but he did lead him to that big win over the Lions. Had some struggles the past 2 weeks. I think whatever in the next game when they play, and I think that's going to be the biggest decision on how well Sam Darnold can take over Jets. And I think he's a good fit here. My verdict kind of here is he can save the Jets. I think give him a couple of years. He's kind of like Jared Goff and Carson Wentz. Might take a little bit of time, but when he gets there, he'll be good.
I think that I just haven't seen enough yet to say the savior.
I think he has the second best opportunity behind Baker to be successful in the NFL, but I think he has a better chance to do it. Up next, we got Josh Allen. He kind of took over week one after a brutal loss against the Ravens. Nathan Peterson should not be an NFL quarterback and took over, and the Bills kind of realized that and put up a stat since then: 515 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, had 2 rushing touchdowns in the last game. And like I said, he was amazing against the Vikings. One of the best rookie showings in a while I've seen from a quarterback since Andrew Luck and RG3 and Cam Newton. And a lot of those kind of quarterbacks back in the day kind of took over. And he kind of surprised some people because people were like, oh, just another old school quarterback, not very good, not very great. But Carson Wentz was from a small school in North Dakota State. Josh Allen is kind of like that kind of guy.
Lost my train.
Yeah.
I think this is a really good, again, with the consistency thing. He can come out and play like that every game. That'll be great. He kind of has to. Who are you going to throw it to on? Probably why he has to rush so much.
He would help Kelvin Benjamin catch a couple passes, which is hard to do.
I think he's good on the Bills. If you put him anywhere else besides the Bills, he might be even better.
Yeah.
I think the Bills really have their player that they.
Yeah, I think a lot of with these 3 quarterbacks, Josh Allen, Sam Darnold, Baker Mayfield, kind of the big 3 for me. I think they all have a lot of potential and a lot of chances to survive in this NFL. And I think Josh Allen, if he can use the tools around him and somehow make him better with Kelvin Benjamin, still got LaShawn McCoy over there. If he can use those, he can kind of take over and maybe even win here this year. Plays like he did against the Vikings. And so, what's your verdict on him?
I think that he are something we have to watch. Out and play like is somebody that can.
Yeah,
I think he's gonna add more to the roster.
I think so too. I'm gonna have to agree with Brandon here, but it does depend on consistency. And I mean, it was only one game, but who knows how the Bills are gonna play after this. I think a lot of motivation after Vontae Davis straight up retired in the middle of the game last week. So I think this team is gonna have a lot to prove. I don't think they have a chance for really to catch up to the Dolphins or Patriots, but there is that chance. It's only week 4. Up next, kind of got the mystery guy here, number 4 quarterback who kind of took over last week again for Sam Bradford. Josh Rosen from UCLA had 36 passing yards and interception against the Bears when he came in. I mean, still a lot of valuation for him for next week. Seahawks and their kind of lackluster Legion of Boom, but Earl Thomas kind of stepped up against the Cowboys this week, kind of roasted them. He's like, hey, trade for me, please. I'm tired of this over here. But, I mean, Josh Rosen, he's got a lot to prove. He's kind of, I don't think he's the most exciting quarterback, but he is a solid one. Saw him play opener last year against A&M. I wasn't very impressed, so I'm not very. I haven't seen very much of him, but I'm not sold on this.
I think there's not enough of a sample size for me to really say that. I don't think that he's going to be quarterback in the league. Years. Could he step in to a decent quarterback role? I think his ceiling is Ryan Tannehill type guy. I don't think he has all the talent in the world.
Yeah.
He's never really going to be an all-star. But the biggest question is, can he step in and make his team win? Let's lead his team to wins.
They've got Christian Kirk. I mean, he's basically the youngest piece there. David Johnson. Got a lot of promise. Larry Fitzgerald, it's his last year, but Cardinals are 0-3 right now, and they're one of the worst teams in the NFL, but Josh Rosen's got a lot of learning, and I think that's what's gonna be the factors if Bruce Arians is gonna be able to coach him and what to do and what plays to make right, and a lot of questions for this guy, most definitely. And I think that's all we have for today. Happy Monday, everyone. This has been BNJ Productions Football Talk with Jacob and Brandon. I'm Jacob, and this is Brandon, and we will see you tomorrow.